All right, joining me once again here on the Matthew Filipowicz Show is my good buddy Steve Horn. Steve is an investigative journalist whose work has been seen in The Nation, The Guardian, Center for Media and Democracy, Alternate. He is a research fellow at DeSmogBlog, which you can find at DeSmogBlog.com. You can follow him on Twitter at Steve_Horn1022. Steve, thank you so much for being on the show again.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so Steve, you've been covering the idea of fracademia for quite some time, and you have a new post that has a major update on fracademia. But before you get to the update, just describe people who aren't familiar, what exactly is fracademia?
Yeah, sure. So fracademia is essentially academia turned on its head 180 degrees. It's people would think of academics as objective, sort of critical thinkers about the hottest issues of the day. In the case of fracademia, the way that I see it, it's academic studies, and even it could be even tenured track academic positions that are fully funded by the oil and gas industry, so much so that they determine the results of these studies. So it could be either a fracademia study, that's sphere one. Sphere two could be that the person is a fracademic, and that means that that means essentially that the person's academic career has been bankrolled almost wholesale, both their research and maybe even their position by the industry. Sometimes a very extreme example would be at Oklahoma State University, which is heavily subsidized by T. Boone Pickens. He's an alum of that university. Lots of positions there are named after oil and gas companies. So you'll have the Anadarko Petroleum Chair of Geoscience, or et cetera. So that's sort of the extent of what fracademia is and what a fracademic is.
And so you recently wrote about how a lot of this actually stems from a 2005 bill. Tell us all about it.
Sure. So this is just something I kind of came across recently when I was looking into a seemingly skeptical study at Ohio State University. And in reading an article in the local news in Ohio, I saw the name of a program named the Research Partnership to Secure Energy for America, that the funding that the fracademics had received from Oklahoma State University came from that program. So I did a Google search, and I realized that this Research Partnership to Secure Energy for America actually came from a section of the Energy Policy Act of 2005, Section 999, which created the program. It gave it $1 billion for 10 years between 2007 and 2016. And, just beyond the money, it's really important who's sort of involved in this program. And if you look at who the dues-paying members are, membership, it costs between $1,000 and $10,000 per year, depending on sort of what you want to get out of it, so to speak. And then if you look at the members, it's all huge oil and gas corporations ranging from ExxonMobil, Chesapeake Energy, Devon, Cabot, Total, Statoil, Encana. Any oil company you can think of is a dues-paying member of this program. On top of that, what's really illuminating is sort of what kind of academics are involved in the program in terms of its steering committee, in terms of its board of directors, in terms of not just academics, but also just personnel. There's a lot of oil and gas industry, important engineers and sort of executives who are on various boards of directors and steering committees and such. So you really look at this Research Partnership to Secure Energy for America. It's heavily subsidized by the industry, but it's also heavily, run by the people that have ties to the industry. And as a result, a lot of the studies that come out of this program are, I would say, would fall under the umbrella of fracademia and run by fracademics.
And so some of this, but a good amount of this funding is actually also coming from this act, right? They actually so taxpayer dollars are being used. I mean, a lot of obviously universities get taxpayer dollars as well, which is bad that they have these institutions doing this stuff. But specifically in this act, actually a good amount of money is actually funneling into these programs.
Well, yeah, and that's the more scandalous part of this. It's sort of the higher level of stuff I've even written about before, which is just that hey, industry comes in, funds a study. The study gets written about in the mainstream media as credible, even though it was wholly subsidized by the industry. Most of the media never discloses that. In this case, the dues paying members, it's a really small portion of what funds this program, basically. I mean, the large portion of it is the $1 billion that's coming in from the Energy Policy Act of 2005. It's $100 million a year. And then there's another part of it that I think I should explain, and that's they also put in $50 million for like a royalty program to get the ball rolling on it. And then after that, sort of any type of oil and gas, like mineral rights or any type of royalty that was made from this program, which incentivized more drilling and more fracking, basically, by these studies, which are fracademia. Once that happens, more money from those royalties actually goes back into the program. So there's like this incentive from this act to go and drill more by the very studies that legitimize more fracking. And the type of studies that will not be done, and I don't think will be allowed to be done, are critical studies on the climate impacts of fracking, ecological impacts, health impacts, you name it. If you look at the mission statement for this program, I'll just read a quick portion of it. It's just that the objective of the Research Partnership for Secure Energy for America is to leverage research dollars and along with technical expertise and the experience of its members to conduct industry-led research and development work to help commercialize domestic unconventional onshore hydrocarbon resources. So essentially, the entire purpose of this program is to incentivize and to legitimize more drilling. And once more drilling happens, because of the way that they've structured it, these royalties get kicked back into funding more studies. So it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy, and really industry sees universities as very important for its mission as a whole, because it's seeming a lot more objective when a big university puts out a study as opposed to the American Petroleum Institute just playing commercials on the nightly news.
No, absolutely. Yeah, no, again, it's like, hey, Exxon says this, people kind of might roll their eyes, but if it's like, oh, this university made this report, it actually gives a lot more credence to what their lies that they're perpetrating actually are here.
Yeah, and that's not just sort of a hypothesis on my part, but S. Dennis Holbrook of the Independent Oil and Gas Association of New York, one of their top lobbyists, spoke at a PR conference in Houston in the fall of 2011, and he went out and said that it's really important for the industry to seek out academic studies and champion with universities. I'm quoting him, because that again provides tremendous credibility to the overall process. So I mean, the PR people, upper level PR people in the industry, really do see universities as sort of a key, like, third party representative, so to speak. This is not them speaking; it's actually the university saying it. But it actually is them speaking. They're speaking with the money that they're providing the fracademics and fracademia. So I mean, that's why I've really emphasized using that term when I write about it.